Aloha and welcome to Action Island. We are back for Monday Night Football for a battle of Texas between the Houston Texans and the Dallas Cowboys. I'm joined with my two favorite Islanders, Nick Giffen and Sean Koerner. The three of us, we're going to give out our two best bets for tonight's showdown between the Texans and Cowboys. Two picks each from us. Then we're going to vote on those picks. By the end of the show, we'll have a nice tropical three-leg same game parlay for you. Before we get to the picks, though, first up, if you want access to all of Action's pro projections, make sure to sign up for our annual subscription. That is our best price of the year. That's right. It's a Black Friday sale. Access includes exclusive player prop picks from Sean Koerner and other members of the Action Analytics team. You'll also get access to exclusive expert articles, our best spread, money line, and total bets, and real ticket and money percentages. To sign up, visit actionnetwork.com/pro today. And there's no promo code needed for our Black Friday sale. Now is the time to get the best price of the year on Action Pro. All right, Nick, let's get started. What are your two best bets for Monday Night Football?
Yeah, let's get it going. I am going to go straight to the Houston Texans. This is an official pick, by the way. Both of mine will be official picks, but the Houston Texans first half spread -3.5 at -120 odds. This game has a huge, I'm talking huge, expected early down success rate differential in favor of Houston. If we look at the other games this week, and I have to go over to my other monitor to see them here, so that's why I'm looking away, but of the top five differences, four of the teams with the biggest edges covered. And this is even bigger than all those. Houston is a +7.5% expected rating, and Dallas a -5.5%. So that's a 13% difference, biggest edge of week 11 there. And I really like the first half angle. If we look at first drive scoring, Houston, 2 touchdowns on first drives this season. Dallas 0, and now Dallas gets obviously a downgrade at quarterback with Cooper Rush here instead of Dak Prescott. The market itself, I think, is saying Cooper Rush is only around 3 to 4 points. If you kind of average the power ratings out there, worse than Dak Prescott. But our own Sean Koerner, who's right here with us, in his preseason piece, he made this closer to like 5 or 6 point downgrade. Obviously, that could change throughout the season if Dak hasn't performed as well as expected, that kind of thing. But I still think there's maybe not enough of a downgrade being applied to the Dallas Cowboys here. And I'm specifically going first half because, as we'll see with my next pick, the Houston Texans. Hey, it's autumn, right? So it's pumpkin season. They turn into pumpkins in the second half. I don't know what happens to them in the second half, so I just want to stick with the first half angle here. For my second pick, I am going to go to Dallas Cowboys CD Lamb to have a second half touchdown at 5 to 1 odds. Look, with Cooper Rush, all of CD Lamb's touchdowns from Cooper Rush have come in the second half. Now, it's not a lot, it's only 2, but that's 2 more than he scored in the first half from Cooper Rush. And as I talked about, Houston completely turns into second half pumpkins, both offensively and defensively. Their offensive scoring plummets, and the scoring they allow in the second half goes way up. They allow over 14 second half points per game compared to less than 9 in the first half. Is it a conditioning issue for Houston? Like, why is their whole team getting worse in the second half? And if it is, Dallas pushes the pace more than almost anyone in the NFL in the second half, especially when they're trailing. Dallas, 21, a little over 21 seconds per play when trailing. That is the second fastest in the NFL. That could really hurt Houston's conditioning even more. And Dallas will probably have to abandon the run, especially if I like that Houston first half covering the spread there. Dallas throws about 75% of the time when trailing in the second half.
All right, so those are the two picks. We're going to be looking at CD Lamb for a second half touchdown at +500, or Houston to come out like gangbusters and cover 3.5 in the first half. Sean, it's time to vote. All right, Koerner, did we go with Houston first half -3.5 or CD Lamb's second half touchdown? I went with CD Lamb's second half touchdown. The Texans first half. We are putting Nick in a bind here again. Nick, you got to tell us which one of these two picks are we putting for the first leg of the same game parlay?
Well, Gilles, I love my touchdown half splits, but I'm going to go a little safer here. Look, we got to win one of these. So let's go Houston first half to cover the spread.
Well, and even the second half touchdown on its own at 5-1 might even just be a better bet just to do on its own given the odds, right? So,
Yeah.
all right, we are going with Houston first half -3.5 as the first leg of the same game parlay. And now, gentlemen, I'm going to give my two picks. You know that I usually like to do touchdown bets, so I've got a touchdown bet on each side. On the first side, I'm going to be looking at Tank Dell. He's around +215. He's got 2 touchdowns this year, back-to-back games with 9 targets, 9 red zone targets this year. Very encouraging that he's had one in at least each of the last 5 games. And this Cowboys defense, they're 29th in defensive DVOA versus the pass. They've given up 5 passing touchdowns just over the last 2 games. But I also think the Texans passing offense should actually get a pretty big boost with Nico Collins back. I think that actually applies to Dell as well, who's more of a wide receiver too in this offense. And when you look at his season, he scored both of his touchdowns more in the wide receiver 2 role. So Tank Dell will be the first option. On the other side, though, and he's already moving. I had him around. I bet him at personally at +230. He's up to +260 now. CD Lamb for an anytime touchdown. Like, I get it. The passing game is bleak for the Texans right now. I just think that this could be a matchup where Lamb does get back on track, because even though the Texans have been pretty good from a passing success rate, they've still allowed 15 touchdowns to wide receivers this year. That's second last in the NFL. And they do play a lot of zone. And Lamb does lead the team in target share against zone coverages. He's gotten at least 10 plus targets in 4 straight games. And guys, I mean, I tracked the touchdown odds. This is the first time CD Lamb has had anytime touchdown odds over +200 since his rookie season. So I feel like we're getting some pretty decent value here, even in a matchup where Cooper Rush maybe isn't the best person throwing him the ball. So those are the 2 options. We're going to go with CD Lamb for an anytime touchdown or Tank Dell for an anytime touchdown. Gentlemen, it's time to vote. All right, guys, did we go with Tank Dell or do we go with CD Lamb for this game? All right, no, oh, Dell, yeah, TD.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I
good call,
circled his
Koerner.
initials.
Oh, that's
So that
brilliant.
there you go.
Yeah, I
All
didn't
right,
even
well,
go. I liked Lamb for the second half, but I didn't even vote him here. I think it's just because I don't love that first half chance. So that's why I specifically went second half and voted Dell over him.
that's okay. So again, we're going with the Texans -3.5 for the first half, and we're going to pair that with Tank Dell for an anytime touchdown. Those are the first 2 legs of tonight's same game parlay. Now, Koerner, it is your turn. What are your 2 bets for Monday Night Football?
So for the first one, I wanted to give us sort of a layup here. Jalen Brooks under 1.5 receptions at -140, and it's always a bit risky taking the under on such a low receptions prop, and what should be a trailing pass heavy game script for the Cowboys. But I do think the Cowboys try to lean on their run game here, at least as much as they can until things potentially get out of hand. But when Cooper Rush does drop back to pass, he's going to be looking for CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson are his top 2 targets. When those reads aren't there, he's been looking to dump it off to Rico Dowdle or whoever's in the backfield. And if doesn't want to do that, he'll look for Jalen Tolbert. Jalen Brooks is way, way down the target pecking order. And when he does get targets, they're typically low percentage downfield shots, which are throws that Cooper Rush is not really equipped to make, especially going up against this really good Texan secondary. They've allowed the 3rd lowest completion percentage to opposing wide receivers, not really giving them much separation either. So this is a really tough spot for Brooks. Plus, we could see Jonathan Mingo make his Cowboys debut tonight. Former 2nd-round pick last season, so they probably want to see what they have in him. And I think those snaps could take away from Brooks specifically. So love is under here. And for the other leg, let's go with a fun one here. CeeDee Lamb over a half rushing yard. He's cleared this in 6 of 9 games this year. Very nice. And I expect, like I said, the Cowboys will want to lean on the run as much as possible. And the most effective way to have Rush give Lamb the ball is just to hand it off to him directly. Something they have done, like I said, quite a few times this year. So I could see them easily designing a run play for Lamb tonight. He's cleared 1 yard or more on 83% of his rush attempts. So again, he probably just needs to see a rush attempt here to clear this. And the Texans, they've allowed a handful of wide receiver rush attempts to go for 10 plus yards too. If you remember that Malachi Corley potential touchdown where he dropped the ball right before he went in the end zone, that was against the Texans. So sometimes they can be caught off guard on these types of runs. So I think he does this tonight. So I think this is a fun one that I think, is definitely around a 60% chance of hitting.
Yeah, for sure. And so the two options now from Koerner. So CeeDee Lamb over a half rushing yard. So basically to get at least one rushing yard in this game, or Jalen Brooks under 1.5 receptions. Nick, let's take a vote. All right, Nick, are we going with the layup or are we going with the fun one here? I'm going to go with the layup.
You got to go with a
here.
layup, right? I mean, it's a
All
layup.
right, yeah, little Shawshank action there. Brooks was here. Yeah, no, so, all right, so we're going to go with Jalen Brooks under 1.5 receptions. So here's the full parlay for tonight now. It is going to be Houston Texans minus 3.5 in the first half. This could be paired with Tank Dell for an anytime touchdown. And the third leg from Koerner, Jalen Brooks under 1.5 receptions. You take those three legs and you parlay them at Bet365, you get plus 700 for tonight's game. So one more time, I'm just going to recap that. Tank Dell for an anytime touchdown, Houston Texans to cover the spread in the first half, 3.5, and Jalen Brooks under 1.5 receptions. That's at 7-1, guys. I really like this parlay. Nick, what are you thinking of this parlay before we go?
Yeah, this one I feel very good about. I know on Thursday I was like, man, we were kind of all over the place on Thursday, but this one I feel very good about. Yeah, we couldn't agree on Thursday, but I feel great about this one.
All right. All right. Now, before we go, a little PSA for the people in the Action app. Go follow the account Parlay Express. That account is going to track and present all of the Action Network parlays from our team and members here, long shot picks, parlays. You can see the account on the screen below. But again, that's at Parlay Express. And the link is also in the show description on the YouTube page. All right. So that's all for us. I want to thank you again for watching Action Island for Cowboys and Texans. On behalf of Nick Giffen, Sean Koerner, I'm Gilles Gallant. Aloha and bon chance.